The Atlanta Falcons have a crucial matchup here in Week 15 as they play the lowly Carolina Panthers. And the Falcons are coming off a tough loss, another tough loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 29-25. Just another game where, like, honestly, Ryan, Falcons should have 9 wins this year at minimum, as they've lost so many. They have lost games. It's like that Russell Westbrook meme. It's like, did they beat you or did you guys lose? It's like, what? Y'all tripping.
Yeah.
Like that's like literally what it's that's my best Russell Westbrook impression, by the way, so please make fun of me. But they've lost games. They haven't been beaten. They've only been beaten a handful of times. Lions beat them. They're the better team. Jags in London beat them. Other than that, like, I don't think there's a time. You can make an argument that Tennessee beat them and Will Levis just had an absolute great first impression on the NFL. But nearly every other game that's come to my mind is like they have just blown it. And it's definitely causing my stress level to go up a lot more on Sundays. It's like when I had no expectations for the team, Sundays were awesome. Like, hey, you got to watch every other team watch good football. But one thing, though, too, that's actually really concerning now for the Falcons moving forward at least final 4 weeks, they got decimated with injuries. Jake Matthews got hurt, did not come back in the game, but even though it's looking favorable that he'll be able to come back, Caleb McGarry is out, did not play. Drew Dahlman, starting center, did not play. Even Chris Lindstrom got a little banged up as well and missed some time and came in. More importantly, though, actually, on the defensive side of the ball, David Onyemata didn't play again. Kentavious Street looks like that's a much more – of all the injuries, the most serious ones, it looks like he might miss some time with the shoulder injury, shoulder pec area. I still need to double check to see how that will look overall if he has any time, because he was actually a great pickup, I feel, after Grady Jarrett went down with an ACL injury. Nate Landman didn't play. Jeff Okudah was hurt also. So defense just got decimated. And then that's why Tampa Bay was able to run the ball super well against us. Hopefully, though, they're going up against the Panthers team, which is really struggling just this entire year. They need some receivers and an offensive line as well. So I want to throw it over to you here, Ryan. Like, what are your overall thoughts kind of on the Falcons so far? And what do the Panthers need to do? I feel to come away with a victory against the Falcons.
So the Falcons, I mean, I don't really know what to think because I feel like they should be a good team. Yes. They just have continuously kind of made those mistakes that good teams don't make. It to me, I think it really starts at the quarterback position. I think Desmond Ridder, if there's one definitive thing that has come out of this year for the Falcons, I think it's that they need to try to move on from Desmond Ridder in the 2024 NFL draft and get a guy here in the first round. So that it's going to be really interesting how this game plays out. One of the things that I do think is interesting is I think the Panthers actually have been playing a little bit better as of late. I don't think last week was the greatest example of that, but they were able to piece together like 4 or 5 good plays, and then their drives would kind of stall out. And I just think that's because they have a lack of talent on the outside of the offense. Mm-hmm. This defense, though, I mean, they're one of the top run defenses in the league. They're about average, I think, in pass defense. And I think they're able to keep these games close until this defense just gets gassed. But it will be interesting because I do think their defense is better than Atlanta's. And I don't think Atlanta really has the offense to – well, it's very different. I think Carolina's secondary is not nearly as good as the Falcons. And the Falcons have had a lot of injuries in that front seven where I think Carolina is stronger.
I mean, I can see your point of Carolina's defense might be better this Sunday, depending on who is healthy. If we're missing Grady Jarrett, David Onyemata, Nate Landman, Troy Anderson, our also starting linebacker, is out as well.
That is
out. Oh, okay.
That is what I'm saying. Like, at this point in time, I do think Carolina is coming into this game with better defense. I don't know. Brian Burns is out, right? He's not playing.
No, he's playing.
He is? Okay. I know he was injured for a period of time. And to me, he's the best edge rusher in this game. And to me, I think he could wreak some havoc if given the opportunity. But I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game, which the Falcons have been able to eke those out. this year, but they've also put themselves in a lot of situations to be in one-score games, right? I think 3 turnovers against the Buccaneers last time they played, multiple turnovers against the Buccaneers this time they've played, and multiple other games with multiple turnovers. So that to me is why I think that this is going to be a low-scoring, close game. Both teams are very injured. Atlanta definitely has the better playmakers on the offensive side of the ball. And my only thing with that is I just don't know if Desmond Ridder will really be able to get the ball out to those guys consistently, just because I do think this Panthers defense is good.
Yeah. Now, and so that's one of the things, like, to give the Panthers props here as well. If you go look at their Saints did score 28 points on them this past week. But even then, before that, not too many teams, especially since their bye week, has taken advantage of them. Cowboys put up 33, but also the Cowboys just put up 33 on Philadelphia as well. Colts did put up 27 in week 9. But in general, though, they're keeping teams relatively close.
And they only actually gave up 21 to the Saints. They had a 7-yard fumble return.
Oh, yeah. They had the block punt. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it definitely is going to come down to that. That's one of the things, too, statistically. You look at Panthers have top 3 rush defense when it comes to overall total yards allowed. While the Falcons are up there, they're one of the top rushing teams in the league. Yeah, sitting at 6 right now. So that's going to be the big matchup here. And then even pass defense-wise, the Panthers, they are sorry. Pass defense, the Panthers were – I was looking wrong. Pass defense, they're top 3. And rushing-wise, they're actually worse. Sorry, my apologies.
I think they're 13th or 14th.
They're 11th worst right now when it comes to overall defense. Okay. And so my apologies for the error. But still, in general, though, I do actually kind of agree. I feel like I think there's a lot more running yards against them because they're constantly down. So teams are trying to kill the clock in the second half. So I think that is a little skewed, in my opinion. I feel like they do actually have above average defense in the league. It's just unfortunate they have no receivers. I think Bryce Young, I am really glad to start seeing now on YouTube, within the YouTube community, people talking look, Bryce Young, could he be playing better? Yes. But also, too, then they go to the all 22 view. It's look at his receivers. Who do you want him to throw to?
Exactly.
They're
and I actually think he did.
Single cover, by single cover, I mean covered at the hip. So then there's even safeties that can easily go and take the ball. So they just need to get offensive weapons on the outside. And that's where, to me, it's that's probably the biggest strength, I would say, of the Falcons defense is their secondary. A.J. Terrell, one of the top corners of the league. Jesse Bates has been arguably the best free agent signing, I would think. I'm biased. I'm sure there's a lot of free agent signings, but one of the best free agent signings from this past class. Even, too, during Jeff Okuda's, he did not play and even got hurt against the Jets last week. So the game and a half we've seen of Clark Phillips, he's played phenomenal. He played really good.
He's looked really good.
Went toe-to-toe with Chris Godwin. So really like what we're seeing there. Even then, too, D'Amico Helms, 7th-round pick, I think has come on strong a lot. He's even started to take snaps away from Richie Grant, who I think D'Amico Helms played great. Saw him in the preseason. Really, he was constantly playing well, one of the standout names. Glad to see him get some starting time. And that's where, to me, even then, if we're a little banged up on the defensive front, still going with Calais Campbell. Then you have Arnold Abedeki. I apologize if I mispronounced that.
Ebiketie,
sorry. I think David Onyemata is on his way back if he doesn't play, but we need to have him back as well. So we're starting to see that improvement. I still feel that just defensively we're going to be able to shut down this Panthers offense. It just don't turn the ball over. Be smarter. That's the thing. That's probably the most frustrating thing. If Ridder just sucked and was having a Jets QB season, where you're not really seeing the progress, that would honestly make it more frustrating. Maybe I'm an outlier here in the Falcons fan base, but Riddle will have. We're IU football fans, and we always talk about this. IU plays great football for 55 minutes, but then there's 5 total minutes throughout the game where they just forget how to play football. And I feel like
don't look at this year as an example of that.
That's fair. That's absolutely fair. When IU was good, when they were winning 5 or 6 games a season in college in the Big Ten. But Ritter will have these drives. We saw that first drive, command of the offense, great passes. Fortunately, didn't get into the end zone. And then the next play, and then honestly, in Ritter's defense, I don't get why you're doing that weird screen play inside your 10. A great play by Carlton Davis. Then I'm talking about the pick here. But even then, though, still, just he's not even looking at where he's throwing as he's turning the ball. Maybe that was the play call. But even then, too, as the game went on, it looks like he's just eyeing down his receivers. He'll have a couple great throws, but then he'll just have a couple of bonehead, like, what the heck are you doing there? And I think it maybe could be – we could talk a little bit about then the offensive line was banged up as well. I like Arthur Smith. I might be an outlier here in the Falcons community. Leave a comment. I would love to hear people's thoughts on Arthur Smith. I actually like what I'm seeing from Arthur Smith. I think he is a good game manager. I think he gives the Falcons opportunities, especially too, if you go back to last year, puts Falcons in great opportunities to at least contend at the end of the games. Because you go look at these turnovers, how many times they've turned the ball over throughout the season. The fact that they're still in these games and have these opportunities, how great the defense has been playing and how Arthur Smith has been able, I think, to manage the game, to keep them in the game to where they have an opportunity to win at the end. That's my opinion on it. Very curious to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on that. But to kind of wrap this all up, the more and more I watch this season, maybe I'm annoyingly optimistic, but I'm more excited for the Falcons' future. I think they've done an amazing job. If they can keep some of these key pieces, especially on the defensive side of the ball, but also the two offensively, we have great skill position players. We just need someone to throw to them. And Ritter has, like, you see those drives, but then he'll throw a pick the next drive. Like, just completely inconsistent. Yeah. And so we'll have to see where we end up in the draft. But if we end up around 10th, I mean, I know I've talked about trading up to go get Caleb Williams, but we might not need to, especially with the emergence of Jaden Daniels. I imagine him in this offense here, how he can sling it, much more consistent passer and much more lethal with his legs as well. You have him in the backfield with Bijan Robinson. I also think as well, another thing too that's clear and noticeable for me is for watching the Falcons game, we need a number 2 receiver. Drake London is legit. I mean, the catch that he made, even the final play of the game, which unfortunately was just short of the end zone, was a great catch. The one that set up the touchdown drive that gave them the lead with a couple minutes left, an amazing 50-yard bomb. I think if he had that consistent thrower to them, I think he'd easily be a 1,000-yard receiver if he's not already. Actually, I don't even think he is yet this season. No, he's at 745. I don't think he's going to get to 1,000. But imagine him.
Has a few good games down the stretch. I mean, he had like 500 yards in the last 5 games last year. So
yeah, that was Marcus Mariota wasn't throwing to him. But to wrap it up, I think if we had a lethal receiver and there's a lot from this draft class, but guys that can also create their own space. I don't think Malik Neighbors will be there, especially too if we go and try and get a quarterback, Jaden Daniels. But a guy like Emeka Egbuka, I think Jalen Polk or Xavier Worthy, I think some of those definitely more polar opposite type receivers of Drake London, who's your big down the field catch radius guy. So I think it's going to be a very stressful end of the season for us Falcons fans as we're trying to see if we can make the playoffs or not. So, but let's get into predictions here, though. I was talking a bunch, but before we get into that, if you have not already and you're still at this point of the video, one, thank you for going down that journey with me. But like, subscribe, and also ring the bell to get notified whenever we create new content. Right tonight, we have one final goal for the year, and that is to try and get to 2,333 subscribers by the end of the calendar year. So by January 1st of the new year, we'd love to hit that number. The reason why that number is important is we would have grown our channel by 2,000 unique subscribers in a full calendar year. So we love chatting with you guys. We love doing this. We love growing our community. So honestly can't believe that we're over 2,000 right now. So if you haven't already, help us reach our goal. Like, subscribe. And Ryan, who do you have winning this game and why?
I'm going to go with the safe pick here in the Atlanta Falcons. I think they're just the better team. The weapons, I think, is the main reason why. I think running game on running defense, I think it's going to be a fun matchup to watch. I think you have a top 3 running defense against a top 6
no, sorry, I was mistaken by that. There's a top 3 passing defense going up against like a bottom 10 passing offense. So much better matchup. You have the Falcons.
That's right. I'm sorry. This rushing offense. Yeah, this rushing offense, I think, has a very favorable matchup. there. And then I still think defensively, the Falcons should have no problem containing these receivers. And we'll see what the Panthers can do on the ground because I think they have a decent rushing offense themselves.
Chuba Hubbard has come on strong. I know we haven't talked too much about, but he's definitely replaced Miles Sanders. I don't say replaced, but they're at least at minimum splitting carries, but he's had a good
So
second half.
For me, I think the Falcons are just the better team. That running offense is I think going to control the game. But I think it's going to be a horrible game to watch. I'm going to say 13-10, very low scoring, very hard nosed. Just I think the Falcons are the more physical team.
It'll be they beat the Jets 13-8. I can see that.
Yeah,
that happening as well. So I'm also going to go with the Falcons. I've gone with the Falcons every single week. It's probably why my overall season record's not that great. But I agree as well. They're the better team. We have to monitor some of the injuries here, but even then, I just feel game plan wise, everything going on right now with the Panthers inside the locker room, I think Arthur Smith will be able to scheme up a better game plan. Defensively, Ryan Nielsen's going to have those guys playing great. I hope to keep him in the offseason. I don't think he'll go off. I mean, with the head coaching carousel, but you never know.
There's a lot of high-profile head coaching candidates,
and a lot more offensive. So yeah. But I'm going with the Falcons as well. So let's get to 500, and then let's lose to the Colts in Week 16. I'm just kidding. So we're going to that game actually. So a little preview. That'll be a fun game.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and wrap up this video here. We're both taking the Falcons in this NFC South divisional matchup. So if you guys have not already, please go ahead and like and subscribe and help Tyler and I reach that goal of getting to 2,333 subscribers. And while you're down there, leave a comment on who you think is going to come out ahead. Is it going to be the Atlanta Falcons? Is it going to be the Carolina Panthers? And other than that, we'll see you guys next time.